Why is it repeating? Okay, it's starting. Okay, so I think what I said, I'll just repeat just in case my microphone was off. My name's Rebecca Abraxas. This is vocal toning for manifesting inner peace during the holiday season. We're going to talk about 3 ways trauma can really sneak up on us during the holidays. And be sure to stay till the end because I have a new program I want to talk to you about. It's called Align, and it's where I make you a custom sound healing bite and we do some alignment practices, and it's 30% off, and today's the last day for that. So I'll give more details on that at the end. So holiday times. Holiday time is traditional, right? It's ritualistic. It's on autopilot. How many times during the holidays have we felt compelled to have to follow certain traditions, even if we were like, I don't really feel like doing that, but I've got to because something, I got to make my family happy, so a lot of people pleasing type ways can come. Sorry, my dog is barking. A lot of people pleasing can come through on the holidays. I remember the first time that I left the tradition of the holiday traditions. I was 25, and I remember everyone was meeting back east for. Sorry, I'm a little distracted by my dog. Come on, Max, stop barking. I was 25 and everyone was going back east to be together. And I remember my job, I had to work. I had to work doubles. I worked at a restaurant. And so I stayed. I stayed in Colorado instead of going back east. And I went skiing instead on my day off on Christmas Day. And I remember just feeling so light and feeling really like not bad about missing the holiday with my family. It felt kind of empowering to really tune into what I needed to do that season. And it's actually the only year that I didn't do this, that I didn't go join family. And that year they actually had some hard times, and I didn't have to be part of that. So where can we during the holiday season use our awareness instead of falling into traps of autopilot, people pleasing, traditions, certain holiday rituals that are always happening that we do sometimes without awareness? And it's just expected of us to do that. So let's just start our time together with just a little sounding. Let's just ground ourselves here and expand the light. So I want you to tune in to that little spark of light. And I want you to expand it as we let out this sound of ah. 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 What if it can be that simple? That just helps ground us into our light. It expands our lightness. I feel so much better just after those just 3 tones. So today's topic, 3 trauma energies. And really, I don't think I worded that correctly. What I want to be talking about is 3 areas where trauma seems to infiltrate during these holidays. So the first one is childhood trauma. Childhood trauma can really be up for us when the holidays come. Holiday season, how many times have parents been stressed out? How many times have we been yelled at? Has our name been used in a negative, overwhelmed way? Right? How many times has your parent or your spouse called your name out in anger or frustration or an overwhelm? Right? That can trigger a lot of childhood trauma where the same thing was happening during the holidays. So childhood trauma really is an avenue for energies to kind of pop up during the holidays. Okay. And even if we've done so much work, even if we've done our therapy, we've done our energy clearings, our chakras are aligned and they're expanded, even if our DNA is upgraded, sometimes the echo of a childhood trauma can come through. So that's one way. Number two is lineage trauma. So, a lot of times during the holidays, we're working with traditions, we're working with family rituals. All of that is really steeped deeply in our lineage, right? So, our ancestry. How many times have we used a recipe or done something on the Christmas tree as a result of our family lineage and our ancestry, right? So, our holidays, my husband always makes Coogan. It's the recipe that's been handed down, right? How many times does lineage trauma get triggered by these things that are handed down? Trauma is handed down. So, this is another avenue that we can kind of be a little sideswiped, a little surprised by a certain energy that comes through in our lineage. Okay, that's tied to us. Okay, we're all layered. If people haven't dealt with their childhood trauma, guess where it goes to? It goes out to the lineage to hold, and it gets passed down from person to person, generation to generation. So, number three, a way that trauma can come through during the holidays is just the collective. How many of us are sensitive empaths? How many of us are uh, empathic and holding energy for the 3D collective? You know, there are ways to have that not be, but a lot of us are just highly sensitive people. And if we're not aware of how to unhook from the 3D collective energy, we are going to be holding trauma energy for the collective as they go through their holiday. So these three areas of trauma, I keep doing, I should do this finger. These three areas of avenues of trauma that can come in for us, we can start to feel that energy. Now, what I feel is really important is if we start to notice, really use our awareness around how that energy is coming in with just personal childhood trauma, like collective family trauma, or just the collective 3D trauma. So these three areas, know that they're very active during the holiday season. And then how can we start to be aware of what's what and how to move the energy? If we want to be healers in this holiday season, how do we hold and heal that energy? And how do we just not let it like glom onto us? How do we not be the effect of it? And this is where I have found vocal toning to be so powerful and so quick. Okay, so we're going to take a look at all three of these areas and how to use vocal toning. So if you have an awareness that you have a personal trauma coming up for you from the holidays, perhaps you were always yelled at while your mom was cooking, right? It got stressful during the holidays. Or perhaps buying presents and you didn't have a lot of money, but yet it was expected of you. Perhaps that brought up kind of like your certain belief system around money and abundance. So, whatever it is, if there's an echo of childhood trauma that you're aware of and you're like, where is this coming from? It can happen to the best of us. The most awake and ascended people can feel an echo of a childhood trauma that comes through. The best thing to do is to be aware of it and see it, and then take a breath and not react. Take a pause, witness it. And then I like just sounding it out. So, whatever you're aware of, feel it, sense it, and notice it as a vibration. Everything's a vibration. And when we notice it as a vibration, emotions and beliefs have a vibration. Notice it as a vibration, and then let your voice be the vibration of the trauma echo that's coming up. And then you're going to let out that sound. And you're going to keep letting it out until you start moving the energy. And the energy lifts and moves. And then you're going to notice a very subtle difference in the vibration that's coming through. This is the vibration of your light. So if you're willing to move and just be present with the childhood trauma, you just move that energy, and eventually you'll feel the authentic lightness of your being. Yeah. So let's do that right now together. Let's tune into childhood trauma that might be up for you. Let's work on Thanksgiving. Something came up for me in Thanksgiving, and I was shocked as hell for sure. I haven't reacted and felt those things in a very long time. I was shocked. Let me know in the comments if that has happened to you on Thanksgiving. You know, there is a lot of energies, you know, in the ether, and with the moons and the tides of life here, the tides of energies that are coming to the planet, the moon, the lunar eclipses, right? A lot of stuff's churning up. So while you've been in your awakening ascension journey, you feel like you've let go of most of your karma. Maybe there's a little bit left. Okay. I really thought I've let go of so much that I was shocked to see what came through on Thanksgiving and what was triggered there. So I'm going to work with that energy. So you pick an energy that you want to work with that's kind of surprised you, that triggered you, or that you just became, maybe you didn't get to the triggered moment, but you noticed it. Okay. So wherever you are, okay, you know, did you react? Did you feel triggered? Or was it just before that you just noticed it? Whatever it is, let's be with that energy right now and just start toning. Ah, 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 ah. And in the tone, you may start to notice a grief energy, a frustration energy, an overwhelm energy. All these frequencies can come through that toning. And as you tone, ah, ah, you can start to feel those dense frequencies starting to lift. I can feel that, like there was a grief, there was a frustration and sadness that I felt in there, and then it started to lift. Ah, and it lifts until it just moves. And then you're just going to sense in your tone lightness. Okay. So that's what you could do for your personal trauma. Now let's go to the next area. You know, if personal trauma is not dealt with, it gets passed down. It becomes a whole ancestral thing, lineage trauma. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be working with a family constellation counselor for our family, and we really start to go into who is being placeholders for people in your lineage who haven't dealt with their trauma, and now we're dealing with it. Okay. So we're all mirrors for each other. And this family constellation work, I'm so excited to get deep into it. But we can do this with sound as well. We can start to tune into, where is this trigger? Where is this dense energy from? So the first thing is, you know, really be aware. What are you aware of right now? You know, you can wake up during your day. Do you sense a heaviness in your day? That could be some lineage trauma that's coming through, activated by some of the holiday energy. And so when you feel that, you can go tap into the knowing field, and you can ask the question, who and what am I being? Who and what am I being? Now, depending on how you get information, you might get just the person, you might get the exact incident in your lineage line, and you can start to tone that too. You can be the toner, the processor of that energy. So you ask, with this lineage stuff, you ask, who and what am I feeling? Who and what am I being? Who and what is this? Get whatever information that comes, and then with the intention of being the processor and the holder and the releaser of this energy, you start toning, just like we were with the personal trauma that I was just talking about. You feel it, you sense it, and you start toning. Ah, and you're going to notice subtle frequencies in your toning. You're processing lineage trauma. You're processing it. And remember, the first thing you need to do is just be aware of it. And that might be all it goes to. You become aware and then you can tone it. Now, for me, everything was so busy and there were so many aspects happening for me on Thanksgiving that I didn't catch it during the awareness part. I actually went full bore with it all. Okay. I was aware. I started feeling deeply around it, talking about it a lot. And then I got triggered and then I activated behavior. I did a reaction. Now, reactivity can also be an energy that's required at the time to create more awareness for yourself or for everyone involved. So don't beat yourself up for that either. I'm trying not to myself. But again, all you need to do for vocal toning is be aware of the energy. And with the lineage stuff, you can ask some deeper questions. Who and what and where, when is all of this? And it might give you a deeper sense of this energy. And then you start toning it and you tone it and you move it, you're lightening it until you start to feel your collective lineage feeling lighter. You're processing that trauma for them. Lineages of trauma you can process with your own voice if you're willing to just spend the time with there. Okay, so number 3 is the collective trauma. So how many times are you shopping or seeing other family members having of other people, of neighbors, of friends having a hard time? The collective is suffering right now in the holiday season because they're trying to keep up with expectations. They're trying to keep up with the energy of the holidays. They're keeping up with traditions and they're on autopilot. So how many times do you see the collective? I see it in stores just with parents yelling at their kids, right? That kid's starting to feel trauma. Okay. He's getting kind of energetically beat up by his parent. No judgment, but that's happening right now during the holidays. Or how many times is a parent beating themselves up because they can't meet the holiday expectations of presents, of money, monetary presents? There's so much that can come up for people in the collective during the holidays, especially when they are unaware of the broader perspective, right? That you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You don't have to do that tradition if it doesn't feel good. What if you're acting out of your own trauma and that's why you keep doing or giving in this way? Whatever it is, the collective, a lot of the 3D collective has not woken up yet. And there's a lot of suffering and trauma during these holiday times. A lot of belief systems and emotional habits are churned up and triggered. Now, if you're a sensitive being, you may be feeling that heaviness. So it's the same thing. If you feel that heaviness and you are one of the people that are aware of this heaviness, you can have a choice to release it or process it for the collective. And you can do that again with vocal toning. Again, be aware. Be aware of the energy you're feeling. Okay. And then you can just ask, is this mine? Is this my lineage trauma? Or is this the collective trauma? How is this? Who is this? When is this? What is this? And if you ask all those questions, you kind of fine tune your awareness about it and fine tune the frequency. And then you just offer your voice to that frequency. Ah. Now, as you tone, you might be aware of these subtle frequencies in your voice. Frequencies of a whole rainbow of lower vibe emotions that people are experiencing. Just keep toning with the intention of moving and processing it for the collective. And as you do that, it gets lighter and lighter, and you're going to notice that eventually it just expands and moves into the light and you feel your lightness again. Vocal toning does that. Isn't that cool? It moves energy. So if everything's a vibration, the vocal tone is a vibration, and you put an intention in there and you're toning for and to process trauma, that's what you'll be doing. So vocal toning is a brilliant, brilliant, simple way. But then we got to get out of our own way, because how many times do we do vocal toning, or we sing out, or we chant, and we judge our voice? The problem with judging our voice is that we shut it down and we put the judgment frequency in there as well. So if you could let go of the judgment and not just listen to the sound quality, but listen to what's happening in the frequencies in your voice, you'll notice that it is a profound tool you have with your voice. Now in this culture, in American culture, modern culture, modern first world culture, voice is all about sounding pretty. It's all about performing. It's all about being seen, right? Vocal toning as an awakening tool. It's not about sounding pretty. It's not about judging ourselves of the quality of sound. It's about using it as a tool for transformation. It's for a tool for processing energy. It's your processor. So if you can talk, you get to have this tool. Now, I know some people have a hard time talking, or they've lost their voice. They don't have the advantage of this tool. But if you can talk, you have the advantage of this tool. And I call it the unfair advantage, because when you vocal tone, you are activating the cranial nerve, the largest cranial nerve that runs through the whole body, the vagus nerve, that is the parasympathetic nervous system nerve, that when you activate it, it calms you down. And then it helps you process energies, emotions, belief systems, trauma, triggers. All that starts to calm, and you process it with the sound wave of your tone. So those three areas I showed you how to use a simple tone. That's what's happening. That's how you're processing. Okay, so holiday season's the perfect time to do this. Singing, people might say, like, well, singing will do the same thing. The thing is with singing is that, especially when we're singing holiday songs, it's chock full of other energies too. Think about that. Like if you're singing, okay, here's a good example. "O Come All Ye Faithful" is one that my father would sing all the time. And then he would also sing it in Latin. So I have childhood memories wrapped into those words and that song. So memories, forms and structures of how I lived my childhoods. When something is rooted in form and structure and stories, it has energy to move. Okay. It may not be trauma energy, but it's a form and structure that if you want to create more in your life, if you want to create something different in your life and not be hooked into the story of your childhood, you have to let that go. So stories are words or lyrics, right? And when sound has words and lyrics, there's certain frequencies that are already enmeshed in the music. So that's why I love vocal toning, because there's only your vibration that you're working with, right? That you're trying to process and shift and be present with. When there's words in it, it adds more to work with, and it's confusing. Okay. It activates emotion. So that's why I love the pure essence of just toning without words. And so I've been a singer-songwriter for a really long time. And I prefer these days, I love singing my songs, but I really prefer vocal toning because it's so pure. You're really going through and moving frequency and trauma and hurts and wounding and shifting belief patterns when there's no words involved and there's just the pure sound wave. That's how I feel about it. Sorry about that. So that's how I feel about it. All right, so let me see if there's any questions. I don't think so. Nope. Okay. I'm just learning using Restream for the first time, and I don't see any area for, okay. So let's do a little vocal toning. So I showed you how to do some vocal toning when those certain trauma areas come up. But let's just right now, let's just do a vocal toning for inner peace. All right, and I'm going to just give you some sounds to work with. So just follow me. What we're going to do is oh, ooh, and ah. We're going to circulate that. Oh, these are very grounding frequencies. These are sounds that are very related to the lower chakras, just help us with tribe energy coming into other and personal power. This is really great stuff to work with during the holidays when we start to become aware of the trauma energies that are coming. So let's do this together. And if you're like, I don't really feel like using my voice today, you can just listen to the vocal toning. So that's what's beautiful about vocal toning, is that you can really move a lot of energy if you're doing it yourself with your own voice, but you can also move a lot when you're listening to someone else's vocal tone. So sound healing is an amazing, amazing tool. So let's just do this for a few moments. Are you doing it yourself? Is it a day for you to do this yourself? Or you notice any judgment about your voice? All right. What I'd like you to do is just say interesting point of view and let that go. And let's keep toning. And notice if you want to shift the high, the how high or low the sound is, the what is it? The octave. You want to go up an octave, feel free. See what that creates for you. So it's all about noticing. It's all about increasing your awareness. Vocal toning is subtle, but it is potent and it is working on you. So try to just expand your awareness to tune into the subtle frequencies that are shifting and processing in your vocal toning. Oh, ah, oh, ah, oh, ah. Now, if you are using sound healing with vocal toning, you want to make sure that you're in alignment with the level of light that that practitioner is offering. What do I mean by that? Is that when someone's singing or vocal toning and you're using it as a healing practice, are you raising your vibration or are you lowering it? And that will be determined if that where that practitioner is vibrating from. So if you're noticing that you're kind of agitated or it's not working for you, it could be that just you're not a vibrational match with the practitioner. And that's fine. There's other sound healers. And just like if you go to find a therapist, right? You try to find one that feels like matched with you, right? That feels like where you are. And same thing with any practitioner, chiropractor. You wouldn't go to just anyone. You would go to one that, yeah, I align with his philosophy or I align with his way of healing. Same thing with a sound healer. If you're like, you know, every sound healer and vocal toner is not the same. They're bringing different frequencies, whether by default or by on purpose. So tune into if that feels aligned with you. Okay, which brings me to what my offer is that I said earlier today. I have a new package called Align, and I'm super excited about it because not only do you get an energy alignment session where we assess what's happening vibrationally, and I help you bring your vibration up, but the next step is I offer a custom sound healing. So after I work with the energies of you and what you're trying to go to, I play with that and I come up with a 30-minute sound healing MP3 custom made for you. And then the process is you listen to it every day for 30 days. And after that, then we go and we meet again for 30 minutes, 30-minute session where we integrate and we share the shifts that have happened. And so that's my Align package. That's been my Black Friday week special. And today is the last day you can get it for 30% off. So originally it's $350 and you get it for $245 today. So if I'm only giving away 5 of those at 30% off. So if you would like to have that you can go to Rebecca Abraxas.com/align, I believe. Actually, just go to RebeccaAbraxas.com and there's a link. It says Black Friday special and just click right on that. But today, December 1st, is the last day to get that 30% off. And that you'll get your own custom 30-minute sound healing. So that's what I was just talking about. Really finding the alignment if you're using sound healing. If you're using sound healing on your own and you're doing this vocal toning to move your frequency, you're going to notice that you are raising your vibration after doing that sound. Now, if you go on to YouTube or Enlightened World and you're like listening to certain sound healing practitioners, sometimes you can feel agitated by it. That is maybe part of it. You may need to get agitated to move certain energy, right? Things have to come up to clear out. But there's also an agitation that might be lowering your frequency. So you have to just ask the next question about it. Is this for my highest good? And is this going toward raising my frequency? You'll get that awareness. Or you can ask, is this frequency not a match? And is this lowering my frequency? So when in doubt, ask a question and tune into the awareness that comes. So, all right. So holiday trauma. The biggest thing I have found with holiday trauma is expectations. That's what triggered me on Thanksgiving. And it was really challenging. I expected my 18-year-old son to come to Thanksgiving dinner. He kept saying he was going to come help make the onions. He said he was going to show up. And then something happened. Something happened and I had this huge expectation and it didn't show up that way. And I got hooked in. And so expectations can be one of our largest ways of getting triggered into some old trauma. And I had to do the blessing at Thanksgiving and I was so choked up because my son wasn't there that I couldn't even give the blessing. So one of the biggest doorways to all three things that I was talking about today on this podcast is expectations. Holding an expectation instead of living with awareness can get us into all three of those layers of trauma. So as we wrap up here today, I just want to say, where can you let go of any expectation for this holiday? Okay, so let's do a clearing statement with that. So everywhere you are holding the energy of expectations and shoulds, that it should be a certain way, and you expect something to show up, and everywhere you're holding that energy and everything that is, let's destroy and uncreate that energy. Want to? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. That is part of a clearing statement that I use a lot from Access Consciousness. So the gateway to all those three trauma energies that I talked about today is expectation. Let's untie that and let go of expectation. Okay. That is all I have to say today. So I hope you all have a beautiful week, and I hope you tune in next Wednesday at 10 o'clock for another edition of Vocal Toning for Inner Peace. Have a beautiful day. New platform. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is how we end it.